ठीक है, तो मैंने अपनी तरफ से स्ट्रीम शुरू कर ली। कैन यू कंफर्म स्ट्रीम चल रही है? हाँ। मैंने चैट में डाल दिया। स्ट्रीम का यूआरएल मैंने चैट में डाल दिया। म्यूट पे हो आप?
Can we start? We are live now.
या
नमस्कार दोस्तों, मैं अविनाश फ्लोबिज लाइव में आप सबका स्वागत करता हूं। हमारे साथ हैं दीप और आज हम चर्चा करने वाले हैं केरला सेस के बारे में। तो हमारे साथ बने रहें, हम बस 2 मिनट में इस चर्चा को आगे बढ़ाएंगे। हम इंतजार करेंगे कि कुछ और लोग हमारे साथ जुड़ जाएं। तब तक के लिए अगर आपके पास कोई भी सवाल हो, कोई भी सुझाव हो, तो आप चैट बॉक्स में डाल सकते हैं।
Avinash, can we send another PN with the new link?
क्या? जो लोग हमारे साथ अभी अभी जुड़े हैं, हम आपको बताना चाहेंगे कि आज हम चर्चा करने वाले हैं केरला सेस के बारे में। तो हमारे साथ बने रहें, चर्चा को शुरू करेंगे। तब तक के लिए अगर आपके पास कोई सवाल हो, कोई भी सुझाव हो, तो आप चैट बॉक्स में डाल सकते हैं। शाहजी पंचाली हमारे साथ जुड़े हैं। शाहजी कहते हैं हेलो। Hello Shaji, thanks for joining us. Yeah, we'll answer your question. Just waiting for some more viewers to join us, then we'll start the session now. Hello Faisal Sheikh, thanks for joining us. We'll be answering your questions after we're done with the demo. You guys can ask your questions for now. Naveen Mimani has joined us. Hi Naveen. Hi Anil. Hi Amit. Deepak Jaiswal has joined us. Hi Deepak. We'll be starting our session in a minute. We're just waiting for some viewers to join us. Kadis, hi. Hi Raghav. Hi Krishna. Hi Jasmeet. Hello Ankit. Manu Gupta. Amritpal Singh. Hello, Sahil. Punil Bhatt says, hi, team MyBillBook. Hello, Punil. Thanks for joining us. Deep, I think we can start our session now. हमारे साथ कुछ viewers हमारे जुड़ चुके हैं.
ज़रूर, एक मिनट दीजिए मुझे.
जी.
तो आज हम बात करेंगे केरला फ्लड सेस के बारे में. तो मैं आपको बता देता हूँ केरला फ्लड सेस है क्या. दिस इज़ फॉर ऑल ऑफ आवर कस्टमर्स, ऑल ऑफ आवर बिजनेस ओनर्स who are from the state of Kerala and who are GST registered. So the way this feature works is whenever you enter your GSTIN number and that number belongs to the state of Kerala, we'll give you the extra option of including Kerala flood cess. So as all of our customers, all of our viewers may be aware from Kerala, that Kerala flood cess is applied at a rate of 1% for most taxable items, and for certain items it's applied at 0.25%. So whenever you switch on Kerala flood cess, you will be able to see this extra cess amount for all of your items, and it will be calculated as per the state rules. So in the past, we've spoken to a lot of customers, a lot of business owners who've been unable to make proper invoices with MyBillBook because they couldn't add Kerala flood cess, and even if they did, they had to manually add it, wherein they would calculate what the amount was, and then they would calculate 1% of the taxable amount, or like 0.25 for certain items, and then they would go ahead and they would create a proper invoice. But with the new feature, so we're going to ship it today, so you'll be able to download the new release by Friday. With the new feature, you will be able to add Kerala fluxes automatically, so that way you don't have to worry about calculating any of these details yourself. Just give me a minute, I'll quickly share my screen where I can show how the feature would look in your app. ठीक है. तो मैं अपने बाकी सारे जो हमारे हिंदी भाषा ज़्यादा इस्तेमाल करने वाले दर्शक, मैं उनको बता देता हूँ कि हम केरला फ्लड सेस की बात कर रहे हैं. और केरला फ्लड सेस में ऐसा होता है कि जो भी स्टेट ऑफ केरला के बिजनेस ओनर्स होते हैं, जो GST रजिस्टर्ड होते हैं, उनको एक अलग से सेस अमाउंट पे करनी होती है केरला फ्लड सेस के लिए. तो मैं अभी हमारे सारे दर्शकों को वही दिखा रहा हूँ कि कैसे वो केरला फ्लड सेस एक्सेस कर सकते हैं. ठीक है. तो ये मैंने अपने माई बिल बुक की कंपनी सेटिंग्स की स्क्रीन खोल दी. मैं एक बार आपको दिखा देता हूँ कि ये अगर आप शुरुआत से खोलोगे तो कैसे दिखेगा. ठीक है. तो ये मैंने अपना माई बिल बुक ऐप खोल लिया. सो what you have to do is at the time of registration, you have to select a GSTIN number which belongs to the state of Kerala. Let's say you are an old user, and let's say you didn't enter your GSTIN. So I'll just quickly show you how you can do that. Go to more, and inside more, go to company and GST settings. So here you will find a field that says GSTIN if applicable. So if you want to be able to apply Kerala cess, you'll have to enter it here. So I'll just quickly enter a dummy GSTIN number, but I'll enter the state of Kerala. So that's 32, and I'll just enter a dummy number. Okay. So you'll notice as soon as I entered my GSTIN, and that belongs to the state of Kerala, it's asking me if I want to add Kerala flood cess on my invoices. So I'll press update. And what this does is, without me having to calculate anything, without me having to put any additional input, my bill book will calculate the Kerala cess amount for you. So let me just quickly find an item where I've added tax. Um, I'll just quickly add a couple of items. Okay. ठीक है. And I'll add a tax value to these items. So there's 12% tax here. ठीक है. And there's a sales price to this also. Great. So that's sand bites, rice and dal. So now I'll make an invoice with this item. I'll just quickly remove the additional invoice field. Right. So now I've just added a party name, and I've entered nothing else. So I'll enter this item here. Okay. And I'll go to more details so that I can just show you how it would look. So what I've done is I only switched on Kerala flood cess, and I only entered my Kerala state GSTIN. But you'll notice here that in the invoice creation screen, it's showing that there is a Kerala flood cess amount for this item. And all you have to do is you have to enter tax for that item, and you'll be able to see it. Also, whenever you actually create the invoice PDF, or you want to share it as an image on WhatsApp, you'll be able to see Kerala flood cess there as well. So let's say I save this. Okay. uh, you will be able to see here at the bottom a cumulative value of Kerala flood cess. So with this, what we want to do is we want to ensure that all of our Kerala business owners who had to previously enter all of these values themselves don't have to do any of the effort. So I'll just quickly recap. You have to enter a GST IN number which belongs to the state of Kerala, and your item should have tax. When these two conditions are satisfied, we'll incorporate Kerala flood cess for your invoices. अविनाश जी, अगर कोई सवाल होंगे तो हम सवाल ले सकते हैं.
ठीक है, we'll start taking the questions quickly. We have a lot of questions lined up. तो अब हम सारे जो हमारे व्यूअर्स है, जो भी हमारे यूजर्स हैं, आप सबके सवाल हम एक एक करके लेंगे. तो आप प्लीज़ हमारे साथ बने रहे. हम कोशिश करेंगे कि आप सबके सवालों का जवाब दें. तो हम एक एक करके आप सबके सवालों पर आएंगे. पहला सवाल है साजी पंचाली का, and it says, sir, my items have different sizes. I need to add by size while billing. Kindly help.
Right. So, sir, we've often seen this kind of suggestion or this kind of request from customers who work in spaces where there are variants for their items. So, what I mean by that is, um, let's say you have a business where you sell shoes, right? So every shoe will have a different size, will have a different color, similar to the need that you just mentioned. So in that case, business owners often want to filter their item list by by shoe size. So let's say a customer comes to my shop and says that he has a size 7 shoe. Whenever I am selecting an item, it would be much easier for me to just directly select size 7, and then I'll be able to see all of the items I have available for that size. So what we currently encourage our customers to do is whenever they create an item, right? You will also find this in the items library items that we have. So as I quickly showed, that these four items are from the items library, and you'll see that the size of the packet is written in the item name itself. So what this enables me to do is, let's say whenever I want to sell an item with a particular size, I can just directly search for that size and I'll get all of the items that belong to that size. So this is inside the item screen. Let's say you're making an invoice. At that time you want to select a particular size. So if you've added that size information to your item name, you can just directly search for it here. So let's say I search 100 ml and I get this one item that had 100 ml in the title, and then I can go ahead and create an invoice. So this is what I definitely recommend you to try out.
Okay. So the next question is by Mohammed Faisal Sheikh. It says, suggest to provide option to change the category of the invoice.
So, sir, if I understand correctly, you've made a sales invoice, and by changing the category of the invoice, you mean you want to convert it to a quotation. Um, it could also be the other way around, where let's say you've created a quotation and you want to convert that to a sales invoice. So at this moment in time, we have this option wherein whenever you create a quotation, right? Let's say I make a quotation addressed to Deep Industries. I add a couple of items in it very quickly, and I save this quotation. Okay. Um, for some reason I'm not able to sync my invoices, but the idea is that whenever you create a quotation, you will have the option to convert that quotation to a sales invoice. So right now I'm having some internet issues because of which my invoices aren't syncing, but the idea is that whenever you create a quotation, my BillBook app allows you the option to convert those quotations to a sales invoice directly. So with the press of a button, your quotation gets converted to an invoice. Let's say it's the other way around. Right now we don't have that sort of functionality wherein, let's say, you've created an invoice by accident and you actually wanted to create a quotation. So that is something we don't have at the moment. What you can do is you can just copy all of the details from your invoice and create a similar quotation, or let's say you want to create another voucher type of that sort. But if your requirement is to create a sales invoice from a quotation, that's definitely something that MyBillBook will help you do.
Sure. The next question is by Nutan Prasad. Says, hello sir, transport charges not adding, invoice discount amount.
Okay. So sir, let me just create an invoice where I'll add some additional charges. Okay. So I've added two items, and I'm going to press add more details here. In here I'm going to select additional charges and I'm going to say transport. Okay, so if I enter an amount here, whatever amount I enter, it will get reflected in the total amount. So this is how you can enter your transport charges. If for any reason you are unable to add these transport charges apart from the way I've shown here, like we've seen some users complain that this option is sometimes not visible only, so it doesn't open. If that is the case, sir, please reach out to us. We are currently working on fixing that. So if you can reach out to us and sort of give your device information and sort of help us understand where it might be happening and why it might be happening, we'll try to solve it as quickly as possible. But if you're generally asking how you can add transport charges to your invoice and have them get added to the total amount, you can just add them as an additional charge here.
Dheeraj Kedia says, can we generate e-way bill along with bill automatically?
So sir, right now we don't have the facility to create e-way bills. We have these voucher types. You can create a sales invoice, purchase invoice, payments wherein you're either receiving payment or you're sending payment. It could be a return wherein it's a sales return or a purchase return. Um, Often people also call it credit note, debit note. It could be a quotation wherein you just sent it to your customer and we're yet to finalize the deal, or it could be an expense. Right now, these are the voucher types that we support, but going forward, we definitely are looking at incorporating purchase order, e-way bill, delivery challan. So it will be great if you can reach out to our support and share a sample of the voucher that you want, like a PDF sample, and we'll try to look at that sample and create exactly something like that.
This is by Naveen Mimani. He says, why does this?
अविनाश जी मुझे आपकी आवाज़ नहीं आ रही. Can you repeat your question?
Yeah. So the next question is by Naveen Mimani. Says, why does the software not show details of stock adjustments made? Also, a balance sheet should be provided.
Right. So, sir, we do provide a timeline of whatever stock adjustments you've made. I'll just quickly show you how. Go to items, and inside items, you go inside any particular item. So here you will see that whenever you create an item, whatever opening stock you created with and whatever date you added that stock on, we show that. And whenever you make a sale, we also show what amount was sold, which invoice number it was, and what the date of the sale was, and what the final status is of your stock. So as you add more and more invoices, as you make more and more adjustments, uh, you can completely see a timeline of all of the transactions that have happened with that item. So let's say I try to add like 5 stock pieces here. So you will see that it just got reflected in the timeline itself whenever I added more stock. So the idea is that whatever transactions you do with your item, let's say you purchase new stock, but as you don't want to create a purchase voucher, so you just directly add stock like I did. Or let's say because of some reason some of your stock goes to waste, you want to reduce stock. Or let's say there's some other voucher type, let's say there's a purchase return or a sales return that involves this particular item. All of that information you'll be able to see in the item timeline. Also, we have a complete report for the timeline itself. Wait, not this one. You have to just go to the dashboard and go to reports, and there is a stock detail report, stock detail timeline. So there you can see all of the transactions you've made for any particular item. So let's say dal, okay, and I set it this week, right? So you can see whatever transactions we saw in the item timeline screen. So this way you can get like a status of what the stock is and how the adjustments are affected. Coming to your second question, Avinash, his second question was around a balance report, right?
Yeah, balance sheet.
Right. So, sir, at this moment, we don't have an accounting level balance sheet. We do have a set of other reports which help you get an idea of how many transactions you've had, um, when those transactions were made, what the amount was in those transactions, like similar to this Daybook report, wherein we sort of show you what voucher number was it that was transacted on that particular day. As of this moment in time, we don't have like a full-fledged balance sheet report, but going forward, we'll definitely introduce this because we understand that we have both kinds of customers, right? Customers who are new to accounting and who would normally just give it to their CA, who just want to see basic reports related to their business. Just say what sort of sale I had last week, what is my most selling item, and we also understand that we have some customers, some business owners who want more advanced reports, who have some experience in doing proper billing, some experience in doing proper accounting. So we'll definitely be building features for both audiences, and stay tuned with us, sir. We'll definitely introduce a balance sheet report.
Pune Vegetable says, can I give some suggestions? Please, sir, your suggestions are most welcome. Please write it down and send it to us. We'll take it up. Amit Sharma says, please include transporter name, bill number, and date also.
Right. So, sir, you can actually add these things yourself. The idea in my BillBook is that we understand that all businesses have different needs, different requirements, and those requirements often translate to their invoices, wherein different businesses have very different invoices. So, what we try to encourage is we try to encourage that the business owner should customize the invoice as per his needs, and for that we've included some additional fields that you can add to the invoice or to the item. So, uh, like if I follow the example you gave, what you'll have to do is you'll have to go on settings in the invoice screen. So this is my invoice screen. You go to settings at the top right here, and you select add fields to invoice. Okay. So in this option, you can add whatever extra fields you want to show on the invoice, and they'll show on your invoice. So currently we've added these three fields, but these aren't compulsory, and you can add your own fields. So say आपने बताया bill T number, right? So I'll just quickly write bill T number, or it could be anything else, like let's say it's driver's license number. Okay, and now I save it. Now what's going to happen is you will find a field in your invoice here that allows you to add driver's license number. So I can add any license number that I need to record here. Okay, and I'll just quickly make an invoice and show how this will look on the invoice that you can share. I've added some items. I've added a additional invoice field, and you can see that at the top right next to the address details, there is driver license. So here you can add as many as three fields, and the idea is that whatever information is required in your line of business that you need to show on your invoice, you just add an additional field for it, and you can either set a default value, like some business owners in the pharma industry have drug license number, so they just enter a default value for their drug license number, or you could change it with every invoice like I did right now. Let's say you have different drivers, so they might have different licenses, and at the time of making invoice you can set whatever value you want. But like this, any business owner can customize their invoice as per their requirements, as per their line of business with MyBillBook.
Okay. Dhiren Doshi says, sir, can you add petty cash book so we can add and start with opening balance?
Right. So, sir, this is another request that we get often. Right now, my BillBook is designed in such a way that whatever transactions you make, all of those transactions can be recorded here. So, we've talked to a lot of business owners who tell us that earlier they would have one book where they would have to manage all their transactions, and that would be very messy for them. Now, there is just one app where there is no need to like scroll through pages, there is no need to like uh, find other older ledger books. So all of their transaction information has been encapsulated in MyBillBook. Often, like yourself, sir, a lot of business owners often tell us that they want to go a step further and also keep track of all of the cash that flows in or out of their business. Um, what currently happens for these business owners, and maybe you also have this sort of an issue, that they can see all of their transactions in MyBillBook, but for their cash in hand for their bank balance, they have to go to, let's say, some other place. Let's say they write it in the book what their cash in hand is, or let's say they have to reconcile it at the end of the day. So they have to use any mean that is separate from MyBillBook at this moment, and because of that one reason, MyBillBook is not the absolute complete accounting app for them, and that means that they have to look at two sources at once. One is MyBillBook for invoices, and let's say another book where they're just keeping track of their cash in hand, or let's say they're using their bank statements to keep track of their cash flow. So we recognize this issue, and that's definitely something that we want to fix. We want that businesses should be able to completely do all of their business from MyBillBook itself. So going forward, we'll definitely introduce a petty cash or cash in hand option, even the option to like track your bank balance, so that every time you get an invoice, you can sort of see if you want to put it in your cash in hand, if you want to put it in your bank balance, and then at the end of the day, you can sort of reconcile with your cash drawer how much cash you actually have. These are definitely important features, and we'll be adding them in the future, sir.
Sure. Leo says, I use this platform for home services providing. So please add column in billing section.
Sir, it's great to know that even business owners from the services industries are using MyBillBook. We've tried to customize our app for services users, services business owners recently, and going forward, we have a lot more in store for you. We've spoken to a lot of services business owners who have very specific requirements for their invoice. So, sir, stay tuned with us. We'll definitely be bringing some very interesting invoice changes so that your business can have the exact invoice that you use currently in MyBillBook. But to solve your problem, I'll just quickly go through what current solution we offer in MyBillBook. Let's say you want to add an extra column in the items, right? Avinashi, that's his question, right? He wants to add an extra item in the column in the items table. Right. So what you
Billing
have to
section.
do is whenever you're creating an invoice, right? Let's say I go to bill/invoice, you will see a settings icon at the top right. Any change that you want to make in your invoice, any change that you want to make in the format comes from this settings button only. And what you have to do here is, sorry about that. Yeah, sorry about that. So what you have to do is you have to select show item fields in invoice. Now what this will do is in your items table it will add an extra column. So if you select show item fields in invoice, you can change that. Right now I haven't created any additional item fields. This is essentially what field I want to show in the column. So I create an additional field here, and now it's asking me to add a custom field. Let's say I want to add a field like batch number. We've seen a lot of a lot of customers in the FMCG space, a lot of customers in the pharma space often need to track what the batch number is. So we save this additional item column here. And when we go back to the show item fields in invoice screen, we switch it on. Okay. So what this is going to do is in your invoice, there will be an extra column that says batch number. So I'll just quickly make an invoice to Deep Enterprises. I'll add a couple of items. Now what you can do is, let's say for every item you have a different batch number, and at the time of creating an invoice you want to enter it so that it shows on the invoice. So what you can do is you can press edit here. It opens up this sheet which allows you to edit the price, but you'll also notice that there is this other details option here. In other details you can set the batch number. So let's say this was batch number 12B. Okay, and now I press done and I create this invoice. So what you'll notice is here an extra column called batch number got created, and whatever batch number I entered you can see it here. This way you can add any columns to your invoice so that any information that your items have that you need to show in the invoice, you can show them. I'll also quickly show how you can add like a default item column. So I'll just go to this cologne item, and you'll see in details, right, there's nothing written here. So I'll go to settings and I'll go to other. So here you will see batch number that I created initially. So I created an additional item field, then I showed it in the invoice. Now let's say I have an item which has the same batch number throughout, or let's say I have a field like length. Let me just add a field called length. That will be a good example. So let's say you've got a couple of different items and they differ in, let's say, the length. And let's say you want to show the length every time, but the length remains the same for the item. So let's say this is 2 millimeters. Now when I save it, this is always going to be shown in the invoice irrespective of if I add it during the invoice or not. So if I make a bill with Deep Enterprises and I add this cologne item, you will notice that I didn't edit or add a special my bad, I forgot to show the invoice field here. So I'll just quickly set the invoice field to on. Okay, and I'll switch out batch number for this example. uh, Okay, I'll make an item. I'll make a cologne item. You'll notice that I didn't edit the item or add it. And when I save it, you'll see that it already exists. This length column already exists. So like this, if you have any default information that you want to show, you can show it without having to add it during the invoice creation.
न्यू सुपर सेज किसी व्हाट्सएप पर लिंक भेजने से दूसरे बंदे का मोबाइल नंबर ऐड करना पड़ता है.
Right. So sir, हम इस पे काम कर रहे हैं। हम कुछ टाइम पहले हमने हमारे MyBillBook ऐप में ऐसा फीचर डाला था कि हम डायरेक्टली जो व्हाट्सएप की स्क्रीन है जहाँ पे आप चैट करते हो वही खोल देते थे, ताकि अगर लेट्स से मुझे कोई इनवॉइस शेयर करनी होगी तो वो डायरेक्टली उस पर्टिकुलर नंबर की स्क्रीन पे खुल जाता था। हमारे एंड पे सर कोई बग है जिसकी वजह से हम इसे अभी नहीं कर पाए। हमारे इंजीनियर्स करंटली इस पे काम कर रहे हैं, तो जैसे ही ये फिक्स हो जाएगा सर हम आपको बता देंगे। उससे हुआ क्या कि जैसे ही आप किसी पार्टी का कॉन्टैक्ट सेव करते हैं और उसमें उनका फ़ोन नंबर अगर होगा, तो जैसे ही आप उनके साथ कोई पेमेंट लिंक शेयर करते हैं, कोई रिपोर्ट शेयर करते हैं, तो वो डायरेक्टली हम आपको व्हाट्सएप के उनके चैट वाली स्क्रीन पे ले जाएंगे। आपको चूज़ नहीं करना पड़ेगा। तो आपको फिर स्क्रॉल नहीं करना पड़ेगा कि ये पार्टी कहाँ है, इस पार्टी का नाम क्या है, क्योंकि आपने डायरेक्टली उसी पार्टी को लिंक भेजने की कोशिश की थी, तो हम डायरेक्टली उसी पार्टी के चैट स्क्रीन पे आपको ले जाएंगे।
Dr. Vijay Ramakrishnan says, I am a physiotherapy doctor. I'm unable to use description using like sessions, but it's showing PCS.
Okay, sir, it's great to hear that you are using MyBillBook app for your business. Um, this is something that we are really happy to see, that business owners and even doctors from all walks of life are using MyBillBook for their business. Sir, coming back to your question, um, you mentioned that you are seeing pieces in your invoice, and I understand that your business is the type where you provide services like as a doctor you provide consulting services, and in that case pieces doesn't make sense. So what we are going to introduce in the coming weeks or the coming months is we'll introduce invoices specially for service items. So what that would mean is, let's say for your example only, let's say you have a session with somebody, session with a patient, and at the end of the session you want to give him an invoice, and in that invoice currently you will see a quantity column where it says one, or and it says pieces, the unit of that item. When we create a services invoice you won't have that column, so it will just be your item name and it will be the amount that you're charging. So to just give a brief example, I'll just create a normal invoice here, but I'll tell you what it will look. Right. So right now in this invoice you'll see there's a quantity column, and that quantity column says one pieces. Going forward, as we introduce our services invoice, this quantity column will get removed. So it will just be your item and whatever rate you are charging, what the amount is final. You won't have to bother with this quantity column. So do stay tuned with us. We will definitely introduce this type of service invoice. We've seen a lot of our customers now come from services businesses, and we definitely want to build features for them. So stay tuned with us. We'll introduce our services invoice soon.
Uh, Raghavendra Singh says, sir, my printer not work and I found more problems. राघवेंद्र जी, आपकी जो भी प्रॉब्लम्स हो आप प्लीज़ डिटेल में यहाँ पर लिख दें, या तो आप हमारे कस्टमर सपोर्ट से कांटेक्ट करें। हमारे कस्टमर सपोर्ट का नंबर 7400417400 है, और अगर आप अपनी प्रॉब्लम्स डिटेल में यहाँ पे बता सकते हैं तो आप प्लीज़ बताएं, हम उन्हें फिक्स करने की कोशिश करेंगे। Naresh Babu says, hi, please add one retailer entire month purchase.
Okay. Sir, your requirement is that you are a retailer and you have purchased amount that is going to last for an entire month, and you want to be able to just track how you've purchased items for one entire month and how you're going to sell it. That's how I understand your question. If there's anything that I've missed, please tell us in the comments, and we'll try to answer your question. If you want to create like a purchase invoice, what you have to do is we have an option called purchase on the dashboard itself. So it's just like a regular invoice. You select which supplier you're buying your items from, and you enter what quantity you're buying from them. Okay, let's say I enter 150. uh, Wait a minute, I haven't set a purchase price here, so I'll just quickly set a purchase price. Okay, so I set a purchase price of 50. I've set the quantity and I press done. Okay, so now if right, so there's something wrong with my internet, because of which I'm not able to sync my invoices. But what would normally happen is, in your case you'll be able to see a purchase entry here with those 50 items, so those 150 items. And now with those 150 items your stock will increase, and so you can go on and create sales invoices with that new inventory that you've added from your purchase. I hope so this answers your question. If there is something that I may have missed, please tell us in the comments. You can also reach out to our support, and you can talk to them over phone or chat with them.
हिमांशु जी कहते हैं, I have shoe business. It's a headache to create separate items.
Right. Sir, one thing I would recommend in your case is you can either create just one item and use that item every time. What I'm referring to is, let's say I create an item like I just call it something like service. Okay, and I don't set a price for it. Now I'll save this. And one thing you could do is, one alternative is, every time you're creating an invoice, you just set the price here. You select edit and you set a price here. What you'll be able to do with this is, you won't have to create new items every time. You will just have one placeholder item called service, and you can set whatever price you want to give. That is one alternative. The other alternative is that you don't add an item at all. Like yours is the business where, let's say, you provide service and there's only one service that you provide. Uh, so there's only one amount that you want to enter in the invoice, right? In that case, you don't need to add an item. In my bill book, you can create invoices even without item. So let's say you want to charge 4,500 for you want to charge Deep Enterprises 4,500 for the service. So you don't enter any items. You just enter this amount and you save the invoice. And you will be able to see that an invoice gets created without any items for this amount. So I would definitely recommend that you try out either of these and let us know which one works best for you. Uh, Going forward, when we'll have service items, I think, sir, that invoice, when we have service invoices, that invoice will be perfect for you, wherein you can just create one service name. It won't have any fields like quantity, and you can just enter whatever amount you want to enter.
Anand Kumar says, sir, please add category-wise report.
Right. So, sir, that is another request that we hear from a lot of our customers, a lot of our business owners, and we understand. We've seen a lot of business owners create categories like baby food, baby care. We've also seen a lot of customers create categories for brands specifically, and then they use those categories to understand ki this brand gives me items which sell faster, or this brands give me items which are slow moving and I should not probably buy from them later. And that sort of information becomes very useful, let's say, when you go to your supplier for the next visit, and you want to tell him that this category has sold a lot, so I want more items from this category. Or let's say that this category isn't selling, so don't sell me anything from this category. We definitely recognize that. Right now what you can do is, you can just select the category from here and see reports. This obviously isn't a report, but you can see information related to what your stock is, what price you're selling it at. Going forward, we'll definitely introduce a report where you can see category specific information. So you can see what the sales was for a particular category. You can dive deeper into a category and see key. Let's say I'm selling Dove soaps. Inside the Dove soap category, how the items perform. So these are definitely things that we've heard from a lot of customers, and we understand how that would help your business. Going forward, we'll definitely introduce reports where we have category based bifurcation.
Himanshu Chawat says, I have few issues. Sir, please let us know what your issues are and we'll try to fix them ASAP. खान टेक्निकल हिंदी कहते हैं, सर एक बात पूछना था, जैसे हम फाइल को पीडीएफ बनाते हैं उसी तरह हम उसको फोटो में कन्वर्ट कर सकते हैं क्या?
ज़रूर सर। तो मैं आपको बता दूँ कि जो आप इनवॉइस बनाते हैं ना, आप उसको फ़ोटो की तरह भी शेयर कर सकते हैं। तो हम काफ़ी कस्टमर से बात करते थे, तो बताते कि जो उनके कस्टमर्स होते हैं, उनके पास काफ़ी बार पीडीएफ व्यूअर नहीं होता फ़ोन में। और पीडीएफ कैसा होता है, अगर आप व्हाट्सएप पे शेयर करेंगे तो खुलता नहीं है। अगर आप इमेज शेयर करेंगे तो उसका एक प्रीव्यू दिख जाता है। तो इसलिए हमने शेयर एज़ इमेज का एक ऑप्शन दिया है इनवॉइस के लिए। तो मैं बताता हूँ उसको कैसे खोलते हैं। आप मोर में जाइए, और मोर में आप इनवॉइस सेटिंग्स पे प्रेस करिए। तो यहाँ पे आपको एक ऑप्शन दिखेगा अदर सेटिंग्स में, सबसे पहला वाला शेयर इन इमेज फॉर्मेट। तो अभी मेरा ऑप्शन ऑन है, तो इससे क्या होगा, अगर मैं कोई इन्वॉइस बनाता हूँ ना, ठीक है, मेरे पास पुरानी एक इन्वॉइस है, मैं इसको व्हाट्सएप पे शेयर करता हूँ। ठीक है, तो आप देखिए कि एज ए इमेज शेयर हो रही है, और यहाँ पे नीचे कैप्शन लिखा हुआ है, और अगर आपको चाहे तो इस पर आप एडिटिंग भी कर सकते हैं। तो इससे क्या होगा, आप जो भी इन्वॉइसेस बना रहे हैं, आपको पीडीएफ की तरह शेयर करने की ज़रूरत नहीं है, आप इमेज की तरह भी शेयर कर सकते हैं। ये हो गया इन्वॉइसेस के लिए। जो दूसरी फाइल होती है, जो काफ़ी हम देखते हैं कस्टमर डाउनलोड करते हैं, शेयर करते हैं, होते हैं रिपोर्ट्स। तो रिपोर्ट्स का करंटली हमारे पास सिर्फ पीडीएफ ऑप्शन ही है, पीडीएफ और एक्सेल, और अगर आप शेयर करेंगे तो फिर आप पीडीएफ में ही शेयर कर पाएंगे। बट गोइंग फॉरवर्ड हम डेफिनेटली आपको ये ऑप्शन भी देंगे कि आप आपकी जो भी रिपोर्ट्स हैं उनको भी एज एन इमेज शेयर कर पाए।
तुषार वलाकी कहते हैं, this question is, can you set primary key in group item name and size file so duplicate item names is validated?
अविनाश जी, क्या आप दोहरा सकते हैं इनका सवाल? ये कह रहे हैं इनको प्राइमरी की सेट करनी है।
Can you set primary key in group item name and size file?
अच्छा, तो सर मैं ये तो समझ गया प्राइमरी की से आपका मतलब क्या है, दैट आपको एक यूनिक नाम सेट करना है। बट सर मैं ये नहीं समझ पा रहा कि आप ग्रुप किस चीज़ को कह रहे हैं और साइज़ फाइल आप किस चीज़ को कह रहे हैं। तो अगर आप हमें कमेंट्स में बता पाए तो सर दैट विल बी ग्रेट। एट दिस मोमेंट तो सर आप अगर लेट्स से आइटम्स बनाते हैं तो आप आइटम्स में भी, मैं आपको अगर फट से दिखा दूँ, मैंने यहाँ पे एक सर्विस करके आइटम बनाया और मैं और एक आइटम बनाता हूँ सर्विस नाम से, ठीक है, और लेट्स से मैं इसमें कुछ प्राइस सेट कर देता हूँ। आप देख सकते हैं कि ये सेव हो गया। तो हम करंटली प्राइमरी के आइटम नेम सेट नहीं करते, तो उससे क्या होता है, अगर आप दो आइटम्स बनाते हैं जिनका नाम सेम है तो इवन दैट्स अलाउड। आप एग्जैक्टली किस चीज़ को एक यूनिक नाम देना चाहते हैं आप हमें बता दीजिए चैट में, या अगर आप सपोर्ट बताना चाहें तो इवन दैट्स कूल, और फिर सर विल ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड हाउ वी कैन हेल्प यू।
Raju Vadya asks for two features where he says he wants cash received option, other party, and daily expense count tally.
ठीक है, तो सर if you want to collect cash from another party and have it reflect in your MyBillBook, like for example, let's say I am selling something to Avinash Stores, and Avinash Stores makes a payment to me, and I want to collect that payment in MyBillBook so that I can keep track कि I sent goods worth 1,000 rupees to Avinash Stores and now they've paid me back. So that should show in Avinash Stores का outstanding in my app. So that's something that's possible. I'll just quickly show. Okay, so Deep Enterprises has an outstanding of 39,000 right now. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to accept a payment from Deep Enterprises. Now there are two ways of doing it. One, let's say you accept payments lump sum. So let's say I made four sales to Deep Enterprises, and at the end of the fourth sale, they're going to pay me lump sum for all of the invoices that were made previously. So in that case, what you can do is you can just select payment in. So this is often shown as payment in or receive payment. It may show on your phone, it may show on your app as either of these two names. It will be the first icon. So आप उस पर प्रेस कर लीजिए, and now when you accept receive payment or you record a payment in, it will ask you which party you want to accept it from. Select the party and you select the amount. Now what happens once you select the amount is we allow you to link invoices. With that you can also sort of choose which invoices you want to pay, which unpaid invoices you want to pay with this payment. So let's say I select these three, okay, and it shows me what the remaining amount is. Let's say I add this one so that it adjusts itself, and now I go back and I save this. So what's going to happen is you might have noticed that the payment amount has decreased. For some reason I'm unable to see the payment voucher. Right, so this is the payment voucher that we created, and you will see that the amount has decreased by 5,000 because there were some unpaid invoices that I settled with this. So that is one way. Let's say you make four sales and then you collect a payment. That is how you can collect a payment. Let's say you collect a payment right 1 week after a sale was made, and you want to settle one particular invoice with it. So right now we settled like four invoices with one payment, right? So I'll just quickly, yeah. So this invoice you can see it still has an outstanding of 34,900. Let's say you want to settle only this invoice in particular. You select record payment in. It might show as accept receive payment on your app. Once you select this, it will already be linked to the invoice, and it will also take the total pending amount. So you can either use this amount itself, or let's say if you want to reduce the amount, even that's okay. And you press save here. Now what happens is we've accepted a payment for that invoice. Right, you'll see here that there's a payment voucher created. So essentially I accepted a payment from Deep Enterprise for 39,900, and if I go back to the original invoice, right now it says paid. So with this, what you can do is, one, you can keep track of what your current outstanding is with any party. Two, you can also keep track of how many invoices are pending and how many of them have been paid. So based on, let's say you make one payment for multiple invoices or one payment per invoice, according to that you can sort of choose how you want to record accepted payments.
Anbu R says, sir, I need to hide the purchase price for sales users. It should not show to sales users. It should hide. Only show MRP and sales price.
Right. So, sir, that is something that we missed on our part when we released manage your staff feature. Uh, we clearly shared in the roles and permission sheet. If I can quickly open it now. Oh, okay, I'm not on a paid account, so see, I'll just quickly explain what went wrong on our part. So we mentioned in the roles and permission sheet that we would not show any purchase related information to salesman. But one thing that we missed was in the items tab, this purchase price was still visible to salesman. Also at the time of creating invoice, and we understand that as a businessman that may not be like on this screen. If you just tap on this arrow, you can see the purchase price. So these two places are places that we missed when hiding purchase price from the salesman. Going forward, we'll be fixing this. This is definitely something that is a bug on our end, and because customers who use manager staff are all paid users, are all customers who are paying for my BillBook subscription. So it is definitely an urgent matter for us, and we are trying to fix it as soon as possible, sir. So we'll have a release soon where we'll fix this purchase price visible to salesman issue.
Okay. Himanshu Shawat says multiple issues. First, there should be an option to print the invoice without the digital sign. Second, total basic taxable value is not visible in the printed invoice when multiple items are there.
Okay. So, sir, let's say you don't want the signature to show in the invoice, right? What you can do is you can go to more, go to profile, and you just remove the signature, right? So what this does is this removes the signature box completely, and this is especially for those businesses where you don't want to show a signature. We've also talked to businesses customers who tell us that they want to sign on the invoice themselves. So in that case, right now the resolution that we provide is you can just take a picture of a blank piece of paper and you can upload that blank image as a signature. So what that will do is that will create an invoice, that will create a signature box in your invoice, but it will be a blank box. So you can just sign on the printed invoice PDF, because that box will be blank. So if you do not want the signature to show completely, you can remove it. If you want to sign yourself, in that case, just take the image of a blank white paper and add it as your signature, and then you can just sign in that box. That was number one. Number two is, sir, you're unable to see the taxable amount, right? So I'll just quickly make an invoice and we'll try to understand what you mean. So I'll just add some items very quickly. Okay, and I will save this invoice. Now what we do is whatever items have been added, right? We take all of their amounts, but we take their amounts without tax and we show it as a taxable amount, and we show it up to two decimals. And then whatever tax has been levied, we show that tax separately as CGST, SGST. Now, obviously, this differs in all voucher types, in all, I'm sorry, not voucher types, but in all invoice formats. So, in this invoice format, we show CGST, SGST together and taxable amount like this. In some others, it's a little different. But you will be able to see your taxable amount. It's just that this is not the sum of your amounts here. So, you will see it's not 1165. Your taxable amount is slightly lower because it excludes all of the tax amount. So, essentially, if you just subtract 101.25 from 1165, you'll get the taxable amount. So this is how we show taxable amount on the invoice. If there's anything else that we may have missed, please let us know.
पार्थ कृष्णमूर्ति पूछते हैं पार्टी वाइज रेट कैसे अप्लाई करें?
राइट, तो सर ये भी एक रिक्वेस्ट है जो हमें काफ़ी कस्टमर से आती है कि लेट्स से मेरा शॉप है और मेरे शॉप में ऐसे कुछ कस्टमर्स हैं जिन्हें मैं काफ़ी सालों से जानता हूँ, तो उन कस्टमर्स को मैं डिस्काउंट दूंगा और मैं उन कस्टमर्स को एक डिस्काउंटेड प्राइस पे हर आइटम बेचूंगा। तो हम काफ़ी कस्टमर से बात करते हैं जो हमें बताते हैं कि उनको ये माई बिल बुक में इनकॉर्पोरेट करना है, कि माई बिल बुक याद रख ले कि ये कस्टमर्स थोड़े फेवरेट कस्टमर्स हैं, तो इनके लिए एक अलग प्राइस हो। तो सर करंटली हमारे पास ऐसा ऑप्शन नहीं है, ऐसा फीचर नहीं है, बट ये डेफिनेटली ऐसी चीज़ है जिसका रिक्वायरमेंट हम समझते हैं। हम जानते हैं कि अगर हम ऐसा एक फ़ीचर देंगे तो जो हमारे कस्टमर्स हैं, हमारे जो बिज़नेस ओनर्स हैं, उनको काफ़ी फ़ायदा होगा। तो गोइंग फॉरवर्ड विल डेफिनेटली भी इंट्रोड्यूसिंग अ फीचर लाइक दिस. फॉर नाउ मैं आपको ये बताऊंगा कि आप ये कर सकते हैं कि आप जो भी इन्वॉइस बना रहे हैं ना, लेट्स से मैं दीप जनरल करके एक मैं नया पार्टी बना लेता हूँ, आइटम ऐड करता हूँ. अभी के लिए आप ऐसे कर सकते हैं कि आप आइटम ऐड कर लीजिए, एडिट पे प्रेस करिए और वहाँ पे जो भी आपको प्राइस देनी है वो दे दीजिए. 240 हो या लेट्स से आप 210 पे बेचना चाहते हैं, ठीक है. तो इससे क्या होगा, इस इन्वॉइस के लिए सिर्फ इस आइटम की प्राइस चेंज होगी और वो आपके इन्वेंट्री या आपकी पुरानी इन्वॉइसेस को चेंज नहीं करेगा. बस इस इन्वॉइस में इस आइटम की प्राइस आप अलग दे रहे हैं. तो अगर आप इसको सेव करेंगे तो आप देखेंगे कि एक अलग रेट से ये एक्चुअली टैक्स इंक्लूसिव था, इसलिए आप देख रहे हैं यहाँ पे 187 हो गया, बट टोटल अमाउंट 210 हो गई है. तो इस तरीके से आप चेंज कर सकते हैं जो भी आपको अमाउंट चेंज करनी, ताकि आप अपने फेवरेट पार्टीज़ को जो आप डिस्काउंटेड रेट पे देना चाहते हैं वैसे दे सकते हैं.
अंकित गुप्ता कहते हैं, सर माय क्वेश्चन इज दैट व्हेन वी मेक एनी इनवॉइस and at that time we enter payment received, but after this also the received column shows that you have to receive the payment.
I'll just try making an invoice and see what you mean, sir. Let's say I make an invoice to Deep Enterprises, okay, and let's say I enter a total amount of 500.
Yeah.
And now what we encourage customers to do is, let's say uh, आप कुछ अमाउंट कैश में ले रहे हैं, सम अमाउंट दैट यू आर टेकिंग फ्रॉम द कस्टमर इज इन कैश. सो इन दैट केस यू कैन जस्ट सिलेक्ट कैश रिसीव and that would default enter a cash receipt of 500. That means is that your invoice is settled here, which is why the balance amount shows zero. What you can do is you can set whatever price, whatever amount you've taken in cash. So let's say I've taken 200 rupees in cash, but 300 rupees still remains that I'm giving on credit. So in that case, you can just set a cash receipt accordingly. Now, when I save the invoice, you will see that the invoice will reflect accordingly. My total invoice amount was 500. I've received 200, and the balance is 300. And let's say I go to this invoice later on. Right, something's wrong with my internet, because of which, right, yeah, this is where the invoice is. So even in that invoice, you will see that the total amount is still 500, the received amount is 200, and the balance amount is 300. So this is how you can keep track of how much you actually receive. If for any reason, sir, this is not what you are finding in your app, please reach out to us on our support number. You can either call us or you can chat with us. And if there's any bug on our end, we'll definitely try to fix it at the earliest.
Jugal Jain says, we have production plant. It runs day and night shift. How to enter production day and night in stock?
Okay. So, sir, right now we have an option in items wherein let's say you have a production plant, right? So at a particular moment in time you want to add new stock that has been created in the production plant. What you can do is, let's say we take this item, whenever you add stock, we allow you to add a remark here, and let's say I write something like day shift and I enter a quantity of 15. You will see that in your stock timeline it now says 15 pieces were added on 2nd December during the day shift. So with this remarks option, you can sort of keep track of when any new produce was made. अविनाश जी, कोई और सवाल है क्या हमारे दर्शकों से?
अंकित गुप्ता कहते हैं, हाउ कैन वी चेंज द सेलिंग अमाउंट ऑफ आइटम at the time of selling, as this app saves the selling price of the item?
Right, right.
He wants to edit the selling price while selling. How can he do that?
Right. So let me take this item. Okay, this is Saint Bites rice and dal. So here you'll see that the sales price is 255. But let's say like this customer is asking, we want to change the price at the time of selling, at the time of making an invoice. So what we'll do is we'll try to create an invoice normally, and whenever we add the item, we'll either tap on the price or we tap on edit. So let's say I tap on the price. You will see the sheet that allows you to change the price. Now this price change is only for this invoice. So what you can do is you can set whatever price you want, and that price will only be set for this invoice. So now you'll see that the price have changed to 200 from 255, and when I save the invoice, you'll see that the price here is also 200. So this price is only changed for this invoice. If I go back to the inventory, you will see that the price here is 255 only. So like this, whenever you want to change the selling price for an invoice at the time of selling, you just have to edit the sales price. That won't affect the original price in the inventory.
ABCL John says, nice app, thanks. How many items can we save?
Sir, there is no upper limit. As many items as your business requires, as many SKUs you have, please put them on MyBillBook. We'll take as many items as you have.
अश्वनी कुमार बोलते हैं सेल्स ऑर्डर और परचेज ऑर्डर का ऑप्शन नहीं है.
सर आपने सही पहचाना. करंटली हमारे पास यही वाउचर टाइप्स है. हमारे पास पेमेंट के वाउचर्स है, परचेज का वाउचर है, सेल का वाउचर है, क्रेडिट नोट, डेबिट नोट यानी कि सेल रिटर्न, परचेज रिटर्न है, और हमारे पास कोटेशन है. एट दिस मोमेंट इन टाइम सर हमारे पास सेल ऑर्डर, परचेज ऑर्डर के ऑप्शंस नहीं है. सेल ऑर्डर तो एक्चुअली कोटेशन ही होगा, बट जो परचेज ऑर्डर है हमारे पास वो नहीं है. गोइंग फॉरवर्ड सर हम इसे ज़रूर इंट्रोड्यूस कर लेंगे. अभी के लिए सर आप ये कर सकते हैं कि आप एक डमी परचेज बना सकते हैं, बट उससे दिक्कत ये होगी कि वो आपकी इन्वेंट्री को अफेक्ट करेगा. तो सर हमारे साथ बने रहिए, हम ज़रूर परचेस ऑर्डर जैसा एक वाउचर टाइप लेके आ जाएंगे. तो उससे क्या होगा, आप आपके जो भी सारे वाउचर टाइप्स सब आप MyBillBook में मेंटेन कर पाओगे.
Vinayak Toshniwal asks, is it possible to get sales reports based on additional fields that we incorporate?
तो सर करंटली हमारे पास एडिशनल फील्ड्स पे बेस्ड सेल्स रिपोर्ट नहीं है. आप ये कर सकते हैं कि जो हमारे रिपोर्ट्स हैं वहाँ पे आप जाकर चेक कर सकते हैं कि ये जो रिपोर्ट, ये जो सेल है वो कौन से दिन पे बनी थी, उसकी अमाउंट कितनी है. बट हमने काफ़ी कस्टमर से बात की है who want to reflect the name of the salesman who made the sale, or let's say the area from which the sale was made, or let's say any other particular information like what driver was associated with the sale. So that is something that we don't have at the moment. But going forward, we'll definitely introduce reports wherein you can filter by the additional invoice field that you've added. This will also apply to items, and then you can see more advanced and more detailed reports.
टेक डी के पूछते हैं, सर आइटम का परचेज हिस्ट्री चाहिए, कब कितने में क्या प्राइस पे परचेज किया था.
सर आप यहाँ पे देख सकते हैं जो हमारी स्टॉक टाइमलाइन है ना, तो आप स्टॉक टाइमलाइन में ये देख सकते हैं कि आपने कब आइटम परचेज़ किया था. अगर आपको ये देखना होगा कि आपने कितने प्राइस पे परचेज़ किया है, उसके लिए फिर सर आपको उस पर्टिकुलर पार्टी के पेज के अंदर जाकर आपको परचेज़ देखना पड़ेगा कि जैसे आपने किसी सप्लायर से ख़रीदा, राइट. तो फिर आप सप्लायर के यहाँ पे कार्ड्स देख लीजिए, और वहाँ पे अंदर जाके आप चेक कर सकते हैं कि जो भी आइटम है आपने कितने प्राइस पे ख़रीदा है. तो अगर आपको देखना है आपने कब ख़रीदा है, तो आप डायरेक्टली स्टॉक टाइमलाइन से देख लीजिए. अगर आपको ये देखना है कि आपने कितने रेट पे ख़रीदा है, तो आप यहाँ पे कार्ड से देख सकते हैं. तो मतलब मैं समझ रहा हूँ कि जैसे अगर आप एक महीने में एक बार इस सप्लायर से कुछ खरीदते हैं, तो आपके पास हर महीने के लिए एक सेपरेट कार्ड होगा जिसके अंदर वो सारे आइटम होंगे जो आपने उस महीने खरीदा है. तो फिर आप यहाँ से आप प्राइस देख पाओगे.
तुषार वाला की says, can you add unique item wise stock report?
अच्छा, यूनिक आइटम वाइज स्टॉक रिपोर्ट. So sir, you can sort of see the history of the item, the history of the stock from the stock timeline screen also. Um, let's say I go to the stock timeline report. Let me select dal. ठीक है. So here you will see that this is essentially a history of this unique item, and when was it sold, what quantity was it sold in, what the opening stock was, all of these things. और इससे आप देख पाओगे कि आपका एक्चुअल क्लोजिंग स्टॉक कितना आता है. सो एट द एंड ऑफ ऑल द ट्रांजैक्शंस यू कैन सी व्हाट द फाइनल स्टॉक इज लाइक. लेट्स से इट स्टार्टेड विद एन ओपनिंग स्टॉक ऑफ 0, then I made a sale so it went to -1, then I added some more stock so it went to 4. So you can see what stock this particular item is at and how that stock is changed. So this will be like a stock history report for this unique item.
अश्विनी कुमार कहते हैं, सर अगर हम पर्टिकुलर एक कंपनी का प्रोडक्ट्स के स्टॉक समरी निकालना चाहें तो कैसे निकलेगा, जबकि स्टॉक निकालने में सभी कंपनी के प्रोडक्ट्स का स्टॉक निकल जाता है?
तो अगर मैं सही से समझ रहा हूँ तो इनको एक पर्टिकुलर आइटम की स्टॉक समझनी चाहिए, राइट? ठीक है। सर आप क्या कर सकते हैं, आप यहाँ पर हर एक आइटम का इंडिविजुअल स्टॉक समरी देख सकते हैं कि ये जो एक मिनट में बस बंद कर देता हूँ यहाँ से। ठीक है, तो हर एक आइटम की जितने भी क्वांटिटी में सेल हुई है, जितने भी क्वांटिटी में परचेस हुआ और जिस रेट पे हुआ, आप यहाँ पर देख सकते हैं। तो करंटली तो ये आपको सारे आइटम्स का एक साथ बता है, बट आप अगर इसको एक एक करके भी देखना चाहें तो आप करंटली हमारे पास फ़िल्टर तो नहीं है, बट सर आप एक ही रिपोर्ट में सारे आइटम्स का देख सकते हैं। तो इससे सर आप एक टाइम पे देख सकते हैं कि अगर लेट्स से मेरे पास 2 आइटम्स है कोलोन वाले, तो उनमें से कौन सा ज़्यादा बिक रहा है, उसके प्राइस में अंतर क्या है, और करंटली मेरे पास किस चीज़ का कितना स्टॉक है।
केविन जी, क्या आप अपना सवाल थोड़े विस्तार में पूछ सकते हैं? कैन यू प्लीज एक्सप्लेन, describe what a question is? Robin says, please introduce bank feature including cash in hand, loan, or able to sync bank account.
एक मिनट, नोटिफिकेशन। ठीक है। तो क्या मुझे ये चाहते हैं कि उनको बैंक बैलेंस देखना है, उनको कैश इन हैंड देखना है। तो सर राइट नाउ वी डोंट हैव a feature where you can track how much cash is coming and where that is gone, if that is gone to, let's say, your bank balance, or you've put it in your cash register. What you can do, however, is whenever you make a payment voucher, let's say I make a payment voucher with Deep Enterprises, I set the amount of 500. Uh, you can sort of choose if this payment was made in cash or was made in check or is an online payment. That is something that we allow you to record right now. Going forward, we'll definitely introduce an option wherein you can choose where a particular payment goes, and you'll be able to access very quickly what your bank balance is in any of your current accounts, what your cash in hand is, so that at the end of the day you can reconcile with your cash cover.
One more question that we can take before we wrap up the session. Okay, Saji Panchali says to send message for balance payment and reminder from party.
So, sir, we have an option wherein
The question, the full question is, he says journal entries in chart accounts to be added to send message for balance payment reminder from party.
okay, so there are two parts of this question. One is he wants journal entries. Sir, you'll have to tell us in the comments what exactly you mean by journal entries. If you can reach out to us on our support helpline, that would be great too. You can WhatsApp chat with us, or you can get on a call with us, and we'd like to understand what you mean by journal entries. Another thing that you mentioned was you would want a reminder to go to your customer. Okay, let's say I've made a sale with a particular party, and 7 days after the sale, I'm expecting a payment. So instead of me having to keep track कि इस दिन पे पेमेंट, इस दिन पे सेल हुई थी, now it's been 7 days since that date of sale, I want to get a payment today. Instead of the business owner having to keep track of this, the app does it for you. So I'll show you how you can do it. Just go to more, and in more go to app settings. Here you'll find two options. One says payment reminder to parties, one says payment reminder to self. So if you go to payment reminder to parties, it lets you set due date and pre-due date reminders. So what that means is on the day of your invoice being due, we'll send an SMS to your party saying that this much amount is due from this invoice, so please pay it. And it will also include a payment link and all. Pre-due date is essentially uh, sending an SMS 3 days before your due date. So you can just switch it on from here. Now I'll come to the question of what is the default due date. So you can, at the time of creating an invoice, you can see that here it takes today's date as the invoice date, and it takes default 7 days due date. So you can edit, and you can add whatever due date you want to add. Like let's say I said the 26th of December as the due date. Now that becomes a due date, and on 26th of December, if this invoice is unpaid, then the party will get a message. What you can also do is, let's say with some parties you have a relation where your due date or your credit period or your payment terms are, let's say, more than 7 days. So you can go to that party ठीक है, and you can set a credit period. So right now for every party it's set to 7 days. You can just set it to 90 days if you want. And whenever you make an invoice with this party, the due date will be 90 days from the date of the invoice.
So with that, we're done with the questions. We'd like to request everyone to subscribe to our channel so that you get notifications next time when we come. आप सबों का हम शुक्रिया अदा करना चाहेंगे हमारे साथ जुड़ने के लिए. हम आप सबसे हमारी दरख्वास्त है कि हमारे चैनल को प्लीज़ सब्सक्राइब करें ताकि अगली बार जब भी हम लाइव आए आपको नोटिफिकेशन मिल जाए और आपको पता चल जाए कि हम लाइव आए. इसके साथ अब हम अनाउंस करने वाले हमारे लास्ट वीक के कॉन्टेस्ट विनर्स का नाम. So our last week contest winners are Jerry Sunny, Abhishek Yadav, and Madhvi Sinhal. So I'll repeat the names: Jerry Sunny, Abhishek Yadav, and Madhvi Sinhal. Thank you everyone for joining us. We'll see you all live next week, same day, same time. Thank you.